Homeland Security Secretary Janet Napolitano tonight is facing a storm of protests over her department's view on domestic terrorism. Now, she is refusing to criticize a Homeland Security report that links right-wing extremists with military veterans, supporters of border security, and advocates for gun rights. Napolitano offered an apology of sorts to veterans. Critics say that apology does not go far enough. Bill Tucker reports.
Homeland Security Secretary Janet Napolitano tried to clear up the controversy surrounding her department's report regarding the threat potential of domestic right-wing extremist groups. Single-issue groups such as anti-abortion activists, groups focused on illegal immigration or Second Amendment rights, and military veterans all were mentioned as groups vulnerable to recruitment by right-wing extremists in the report. Veterans who pledged their lives to defend the United States were especially stunned. So without disavowing the report, Secretary Napolitano explained on CNN's American Morning.
This is an assessment, not an accusation, as the Veterans of Foreign Wars organization released yesterday. But I know that some veterans groups were offended by the fact that veterans were mentioned in this assessment. So I apologize for that offense. It was certainly not intended. I'll be meeting with the leaders of some of those groups next week.
A spokesman for one veterans group said he understands the department's intent.
We believe it was a poorly written report. It should have included not only military veterans who are possibly targets for extreme right group recruitment, but it could have included SWAT teams, police teams, FBI, the own ICE agents coming out of Department of Homeland Security themselves.
DHS issued a statement on why domestic threat assessment is necessary, but added, quote, "We do not, nor will we ever, monitor ideology or political beliefs." But that statement failed to reassure groups opposed to the liberalization of immigration policy and focused on gun control.
When House Speaker Pelosi said immigration enforcement was un-American, and then you see a document like this published by the Department of Homeland Security, you see what is fusing into a modern-day version of the Un-American Activities Committee.
If Richard Nixon had published a profile of his political opponents like this, an enemies list like this, why, he would have been out of office before he was.
President Nixon did have such a list, and when it was uncovered and published, it unleashed a fury in the media. Now, the report says current political and economic conditions pose the threat of domestic terrorism like that seen in the 1990s in Oklahoma City. But critics say the report is nothing more than an attempt by DHS to crush free speech through condemnation and intimidation. A department spokeswoman late this afternoon conceded that there are or were objections to parts of the report from the department's Civil Rights and Civil Liberties Office. But, Kitty, she refused to be specific about what they might be.
So what? There's
we
no.
We don't know. We know that there were problems and that Civil Rights, Civil Liberties had objections, but the report, which was not intended to be issued publicly, it was meant to go to law enforcement, came out anyway.
All right. Thanks very much, Bill. Bill Tucker.
Welcome back for a fourth time now? I think we're on the third time. Yeah.
Third time. I don't think the Fed boys like us talking about this.
No, I don't think they like us talking about it either. Folks, this is just a classic example of how they're trying to censor us and take us down, to red flag us, and to take our rights away and take away our civil liberties. This is supposed to be the first show in a whole series, a whole new spinoff of the logbook, but to be taken down on the first show, I mean, it's kind of neat. Isn't it? I mean, I'm having a good time.
Or the algorithm.
I mean, if the Fed boys wanted to fondle my balls, they could have knocked on the door.
They can suck on them too.
Yeah, they could. This is just. Yeah, they are. I would say they are pretty frightened. But dude, going through that news report that Napolitano. That was covering Napolitano. This is pretty frightening stuff, and to see it in action in real time, I couldn't ask for anything better. I mean, we've been down twice so far. We're just trying to get this information out to the public, and nothing. We can't get a word in edgewise. We make it about 7 minutes, and we get ripped off the face of the earth. Yeah. What's going through your head on this, Sean?
Pretty common. If nobody's picked up on it over the last 3 years, if you've had any form of political dissidence whatsoever, you've gotten banned on Facebook or any of the public platforms that were pretty much the public town square for you to speak on during the lockdowns. So this is the repercussions of us not paying attention.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, but the thing is, this document does not just affect us as veterans. It affects if you are pro-life and you are against abortion, it affects you. If you're a Christian, it affects you as well. If you have any, Catholic, Christian, whatever, if you have any right-wing values, if you have any conservative values, this affects you. Because if you don't toss those values aside, then you are going to be flagged and you are going to be censored. You are going to be silenced. You're going to have all of your liberties taken away because the other side is just giving theirs away. And we're going to be left in a totalitarian shithole. And that's just the atmosphere. I mean, look at tonight. We're just first show ever, and we're being silenced. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. I'm having trouble formulating words because of this. This is bullshit. I had some jokes lined up. I had some nice anecdotes. I was planning to be funny, but now I am pissed. Absolutely pissed. Good Lord. But anyway, we can get right into it, guys. We're going to try to share this again with you. I showed it briefly in the video, but let's see here. Where can we find it at? We showed it briefly in the video, and we are we'll try to get that to you later. But you actually found something, Sean, about this as well from another like leftist lunatic news source.
Yeah, the one from the Young Turks. It was extremely biased and one viewpoint. It didn't seem like they talked to the other side whatsoever. It was written pretty much for an echo chamber.
Mm-hmm. See if we can try to get that up here.
Rosenball from Newsweek wrote a great article today. You can get it on newsweek.com. It turns out, you know how Homeland Security put out that report saying, hey, watch out for right-wing extremists. And especially because they might be trying to recruit vets that are coming in from Iraq and Afghanistan. Now, the conservatives went nuts over this. Joe Scarborough, how dare they say this about our troops, da-da-da. And when the report, I'm not sure the report mentioned this, but common sense tells you, look, Tim McVeigh was an ex-vet. It doesn't mean you profile all ex-vets. It says be on the lookout for people who are trying to recruit them, right? Now, that report turned out to be
ridiculous.
Because we had extremist right-winger go into the Holocaust Museum and shoot the security guard and kill him. And then we had an extremist right-winger go and shoot George Killer, the abortion provider, right? So right after the report, 2 murders from extremist right-wingers, exactly as the report had warned about. So whatever happened with that report? Well, Mark Rosenball chased it down. And it turns out what they did was they killed it because it caused political trouble. Oh, Fox News yelled at you. Joe Scarborough yelled at you. Mark Halpern thought it wasn't wise. So Janet Napolitano, backpedal. They're like, oh, well, that was in consideration and it shouldn't have been leaked. And no. And then they apparently split it up and they claimed that they put it in other parts of other reports. And right now, when they asked about it, they say, yeah, earlier they had said that they were going to put out a new version of it. Like, yeah, no more new version. No, we're not taking that seriously anymore. But wait a minute. Afterwards, exactly what you thought was going to happen happened. How about the new report about what are we going to do about it, right? Nope. You know what this is? This is political correctness. It's ironic because that's what they claimed was happening in Fort Hood. Oh, political correctness. We should have been profiling all Muslims, but we weren't. And so that guy did the killings. I mean, this is the definition of political correctness because the right wing yelled at you. You no longer look at right wing extremists who you know have done damage and have killed people and might do so again. And they show up to protest with T-shirts and signs saying sometimes the Tree of Liberty has to be watered with the blood of tyrants.
Yeah, exactly. It does.
That's the same T-shirt he wore when he did the Oklahoma bombing. That's the quote that says, sometimes we have to kill what they call tyrants, the leader of the country. And you're not going to look into that?
You just admit that the leader of the country is a tyrant.
Political correctness. Look, I'm not like the crazed conservatives who say, okay, if a Muslim did this, then you profile all Muslims. That's nuts. So, yeah, these guys happen to be right-wingers. I'm not saying profile every right-winger in the country. My God, you know what kind of resources you would waste if you sent the FBI after wild goose chase? Yeah, go profile every right-winger in the country. It's millions upon millions of Americans. It's a waste of time and it's stupid. Profiling like that doesn't work. But if you have specific right-wing extremists,
no, this was 13 years ago.
Carry signs.
Yeah, I can tell, man.
Like
That's some bad video quality there. But hey,
perhaps
this is.
You should look into this.
I gotta stop
Just
this. This guy is just
major
rambling. I mean, dude, just the fact that he called the leader of the country a tyrant, and at the time was Obama, right? Yeah, it was Obama, and it's crazy. I mean, what did you think when you saw that, dude?
So I've been paying attention to pretty much all this stuff coming down the pike since I was a kid, because I mean that's what we grew up in. People our age, we watched the towers fall, and we've paid attention ever since. Well, back in 2009, yeah, we saw all this coming. If you had any family that was right wing, you heard about it over the family dinner or at like family get-togethers over the holidays, and we've watched this all slowly come to fruition. And now it's, if you have any political dissidence against what's currently going on, you're tagged as something extreme because it goes against them, and that doesn't really speak for most of the American people, in my opinion.
Right. The thing is, I'm unable to bring up that the 2009 right-wing extremism report to show you guys, but some of the things that it goes over is just it, like asshole from the Young Turks said, was that these right-wing extremist groups are actively targeting military veterans to come and join the ranks. Now, these extremist groups are doing that, yes, but the thing is, they're not trying to target these extremist groups. They're targeting us because we're way easier to target and track than these right-wing extremist groups, and they're keeping tabs and flagging us from tracking our movements and doing everything in their power to see if we are going to that. And for that to happen is just so insulting. I mean, it is more insulting than showing up to prom night and nothing but jeans and a t-shirt, man. I mean, this is some fucking bullshit. This is so the other things that they go through is, one, the historical presidential election. So because we voted for Obama, and because a majority of the country voted for a black man, that all these races are going to start popping up and forming right-wing extremism. Then you also have economic hardships and extremism. Now, that's hilarious. That the thing is, the economic hardships are actually caused by democratic policies that are increasing the inflation, increasing the price of food and fuel and everyday things that we need in our lives. And because of this hardship, they're afraid that we're going to get angry. You're damn right we're going to get angry.
And to think that we're racist, well, that wasn't the case whenever we were in. Why would we be now?
Yeah, we worked, served shoulder to shoulder with, anybody. It didn't matter your race, your color, your creed. And the thing is, the only thing that mattered to you is what uniform you wear. Because if you wore a different uniform, well, the worst we would do is just fuck with you and say our stupid little jokes at the end of it.
If you're a coastie.
Oh, what's that?
Especially if you're a coastie.
Oh, I do have a bit more respect for the coasties nowadays. But,
yeah.
But yeah, especially like after seeing the stuff that they do around there. But
Mhm.
I will never show any less resistance to the United States Air Force because they are just so easy to pick on. I mean, they have the easiest everything, but everything anyway. I digress. So economic hardships. Oh, then we go into illegal immigration and the fact that because of all these migrants coming across the border, that right wingers are going to get pissed. Well, yeah, it's something that pisses right wingers off. Right wingers off, and they're afraid of again forming right wing extremist groups. Because of Democrat policies, more of these people that are coming across the border when they shouldn't be coming across the border, they are they are uh, they are doing it illegally, and you know it's very distressing. It's distressing for everybody, and we're trying to for that to not happen, and yet it is happening, and people get angry, and then they're afraid we're going to form right wing extremist groups or become the next Timothy McVeigh.
No, never.
And they use Timothy McVeigh's example to as ammunition, for lack of a better word, to to red flag us, to keep tabs on everybody.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
This whole situation is just getting out of hand. It's people not communicating, and that's what I think we lost over the last 3 years. Is we've completely isolated and gone to our echo chambers of where we don't hear anybody else outside of our political viewpoints, and we're not talking anymore. And that's why things are getting to this extent. As far as the border crisis goes, yeah, there is a problem. There's better ways to handle this that we're able to do. It's creating a human trafficking problem at this point, and that's the biggest concern. Is like it's women and children getting hurt at this point,
Mm-hmm.
and that's something we should all be concerned about. I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. That's something that's a human issue, and there's better ways to handle this than labeling people extremist because of their political leaning. Like we used to be able to talk about these things. What happened?
I know, it's awful. Then you also have this. Then we get into the meat of this document, and that is the one disgruntled veterans, and also the perceived threat from the rise of other countries, and that I think that would upset anybody, and it would get anybody all worked up to actually form a group to defend themselves. If there's any kind of outside threat, such as China or Russia or any of the myriad of other countries that wish ill will towards us. And but then I'm just reading through this, and it is, yeah, it is a very upsetting read. And then the right-wing extremist paranoia of foreign regimes could escalate or be magnified in the event of an economic crisis or military confrontation, harkening back to the New World Order conspiracy theories of the 1990s. Dissolution of communist countries in Eastern Europe and the end of the Soviet Union in the 1990s led some right-wing extremists to believe that a new world order would bring about a world government that would usurp the sovereignty of the United States and its constitution. That's exactly
So
what is happening.
that was made in 2009.
Yeah, so this was written in
What has
2009.
been going on in the
Talking,
news for the
yeah,
past year and a half?
yeah, like this is written in 2009 about conspiracies that were written in the 90s, and all of this has come to fruition. It is at our doorstep, and
Yep.
we have had this takeover. It's like this is like, no, we're not doing it. You ever watched Mars Attacks? And you see these aliens just shooting everybody, and there's just this loudspeaker going all over the place. Come back, please. We want to be your friend. Just blasting people out of the air and off the ground. Oh my God, this is exactly what is happening.
Yeah. And people called everybody that started talking about this 10 or 20 years ago crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But veterans are kind of waking up to like, oh shit, this is actually happening in our lifetime.
Yeah, this is crazy. This is but yeah, oh yeah, and then we get into disgruntled military veterans. DHS assesses that right-wing extremists will attempt to recruit and radicalize returning veterans in order to exploit their skills and knowledge derived from the military training and combat. Well, no, duh, they're going to try. But the thing is, will veterans go for it? Will veterans betray the country that they have sworn to protect and serve?
Nope.
Or defend it? What will they do? That's the question. Well,
I'm sure you're like me in that situation. Like, you're pretty good about vetting people that you're going to actually be around. That's the same way with most of us. Like, once you've been in the military, you understand how corrupt some people can be. So you learn to do a little bit of research before you're around people.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Hey, shout out to one. We got Kimberly in the comments. Hi, sweetheart. That is fantastic that you're there. And then we got Ruth here. Hi, Ruth. And our good buddy, John Branch Jr. What's up, John? Wow. Thank you all for showing up tonight. This is fantastic. Thanks for showing up for our first show. Sorry if you were trying to log in earlier. We had some imbecilic technical difficulties because the internet decided that we were too hot for TV, apparently.
And we weren't topless.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. There's but yeah, so all the thing is, I think that very largely depends if the thing is it at what point does it become a right extremist group when you are trying to defend the country that you want to come back to? You know, at what point is extremism and terrorism, and at what point is that self-defense?
Well, I'll reference the January 6th thing that the left likes to continuously use. That, in my opinion, wasn't a violent extremist takeover. I mean,
no.
Look at what happened. It would have been a lot worse if it was going to be that way.
It was supposed to be. Yeah, the thing is, if it was going to be a full-on mob, if everybody was in the mode to be a full-on mob, then I think there would have been a lot more damage done from the amount of people that were there. But I don't think everybody was. Yeah, there's proof of that. There's videos of that, and that is absolutely it's asinine to think otherwise. But then also you have the skills and knowledge have potential to boost the capabilities of extremism, including lone wolves or small terrorist cells. So I like how they include lone wolves in there. So the thing is, if someone just they can pin it on anything, any kind of incident can be created.
Yep.
Any kind of narrative can be spun around any other attack. You know, it doesn't matter if the person who did the attack, who does any kind of future attack, is right wing or left wing. It can always be spun to be right wing because who really knows? Who really knows? But the thing is, it always tends to be the right leaning people that get fed up. But there's been an uptick in there's been an uptick. Sorry, left leaning people misspoke on there. Sorry about that, everybody. But anyway, Sean, have you experienced anything in your life that could constitute anything like this? Getting red flag, getting anything, getting tracked for any of your personal views?
Maybe.
Huh?
Maybe.
Maybe. All right, man. I got you. I got you. Okay. So,
But the thing is I'm not right wing. I'm libertarian. I'm not even Christian extremist or anything else like that. I'm Unitarian. I still have it on my dog tags. It's been that same way for years.
all right.
So,
Right. Right, but now this is where it actually this document actually outlines the Timothy McVeigh bombing and violent neo-Nazi groups, and this is the one of the more disgusting aspects of it. It equates pro-life groups with people like Timothy McVeigh. It equates Christian and any kind of conservative value system with neo-Nazis. And it wraps us up all into one big group so that we can never get ahead, and we can never we end up getting our rights taken away.
it comes down to who's going to represent you. And that's the scary part right now. Look around you.
Right now, the pro-lifers are being attacked. They're just they are being attacked because of their views and because sorry, where am I going with this? Because of their views and their more traditional values. And right now, there's a bill in Congress to stop that. And the thing is, sure, we're going to get on here. We like to bring the problems, but we want to bring in the solutions to these problems as well. There's tons of legislation that you can follow out there. There's the Veterans Second Amendment Protection Act that you can go out there and you can show your support for. You can sign that and get onto your representatives to actually sponsor that, and then you can and it's one thing that you can do to help us as veterans. And the thing is, if you help us in the veteran community, everything that happens in the veteran community trickles on down to the civilian community. And you see that in like the NDAA hearings. Everything that happens in the NDAA hearings, anything that socially is happening within the military community, that tends to filter into the civilian community. So by helping your veterans, you eventually do help yourselves.
And everybody should want to preserve their First and Second Amendment rights, be that online or in person. It's once it's gone.
Not to mention your Fourth Amendment rights. Your right to due process. Putting these flags on you and restrictions without outside of a court of law.
Yep, that we didn't agree on, and we didn't get to vote the people in that made them into law.
Right. Oh man. Well, the thing is, we have gone past our allotted time because of all these technical difficulties. So we're just going to go ahead and we need to wrap this up tonight. And sorry, it is such a short show for y'all. But thank you to John Branch and Ruth for tuning in.
Thank you
for sticking with us. Y'all are fantastic people. And Sean, you got any closing thoughts you want to add in there?
Be the change you want to see in the world. Try to just do one good thing a day. Give somebody the right of way in traffic. Just open the door for somebody. Give somebody just a meaningless compliment to you. Just it can help somebody, and you have no idea it could change somebody's life. Like one good action a day can change people's lives. Stay optimistic. It's not all bad. The world's going to get better.